it feels like they're both ready to make trades. Whether or not that comes to fruition, we'll see. Listen, the two big names, Randall, and we've talked about Randall a lot. I think Randall's staying put. I think that's more of a summer thing.
Yep.
Okay. I do think you're going to get a combination, and if not, I'll be really disappointed. Like a Burks or at a Kemba, or a Kemba and a Fournier, or a Fournier and a Noel. Like, I do think the Knicks will make some trades to free up some space. But the big thing is Harden, all right? And, the Nets, if they haven't done this by now, they're a mess. And I do think that they've done this by now. They've got to understand that he doesn't want to be here. He was ruled out. I don't know if you saw this because you're out in California.
Yep.
He was ruled out for tonight's game yesterday.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like he has a ruptured Achilles. He's got a hamstring that's barking a little bit, which I thought was pretty interesting. So to me, Teak, and by all means jump in after this, to me, Brooklyn needs to weigh. This is the only thing they need to really force themselves through mentally and evaluate. Brooklyn needs to weigh how much they're willing to leave on the table in terms of a potential trade versus how much they're willing to continue to align themselves with a very obviously disgruntled and increasingly disengaged star.
Yeah.
That's their dilemma.
I think I look at it a little bit differently, BT, because I look at what this team could be if James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are all healthy and playing and pulling and then pushing in the right direction. And I think if you're the Brooklyn Nets today, that's what you have to figure out. Like, you have to calculate how available you think Kyrie is going to be based on how things are going to change. We mentioned this earlier in the week. If they end up playing Toronto, they're screwed with their big three because Kyrie Irving, if nothing changes, can't play in Toronto, and he obviously can't play in Brooklyn as he hasn't been all season long. So I think it's a complicated calculus on what they think they can do this year if they get every guy back. Because if there's a path to a championship, there's no way you're not pursuing that. Right, if you know Kevin Durant's going to be healthy, he's going to be back to who he was, even if it takes a little bit of time, there's still enough of the regular season left that they can build chemistry with Kevin Durant and James Harden and even Kyrie on the road. But if there is any thought that Kevin Durant's going to be compromised, that the rules aren't going to change for Kyrie Irving, and you might as well cut your losses now rather than, wait and hope, then you move James Harden. But if it's the opposite, if it's what I just talked about before, you got to stick with James Harden because it's the best way to give yourself a chance to win a championship.
I don't see it that way because there's too much guesswork involved here. You're trying to throw a dart on the wall and see which number it's going to stick. I mean, will they change the New York mandates? Will Kevin Durant be fully healthy?
Mask mandates are going away. I'm just saying, BT.
All right. But
they're going away.
I hope so. Listen, you know where I stand on that.
I know.
Exactly. Of course. I hope they're, yes. See, I think it's more measuring, forget about the health of Durant. I think it's more about Harden. Because remember now, I guess that would have been about middle of October. I guess the exact date doesn't matter. When he turned down the contract or he refused to, he declined signing it. He can, that allows him, I think people need to understand the financials here because to me, this shapes the Nets' decision. He can now opt in, and I think it's $47.5 million for the 2022-2023 season, and then simultaneously sign what equates to a 4-year, $223 million extension. Now, the last year of that deal is north of $60 million. So as we sit here, you're right. We'll be walking around. I mean, we're pretty much doing it anyway, but maskless, all of us, hopefully, or most of us soon. Even if you're right about that, even if Durant comes back and he's good to go, I'm not even sure that James Harden is fully healthy. So if you don't trade him, you're missing out on a window to get Ben Simmons. And as I said yesterday, really lengthen the window for opportunity for the Nets to win championships moving forward. See, I look at James Harden as a diminishing player, not where it's so acutely apparent. Don't get me wrong. He's still really, really good. But what plagued him a year ago? The hamstring. What's the issue this year? The hamstring. Read the writing on the wall. Don't give this guy $230 million. Trade for Ben Simmons. Do it.
But the challenge with Ben Simmons, and you mentioned this earlier in the week as well, he hasn't done anything. We don't know if he's working out and working on his game and what kind of shape he's going to be in. I mean, we're deep into this NBA season already, and Ben Simmons hasn't taken a meaningful shot in a game on an NBA floor all year long. And people want to joke about it and clown him. You can say he really hadn't taken one going back into the postseason last year.
Yeah.
But with how he was declining some of those shots at the end of that playoff series. So I get it with Ben Simmons, and yes, immediately he'll be a great defender, and he brings some versatility to your lineup and your offering. But we don't know about Ben Simmons. We don't know how he's going to fit and play. What's the chemistry going to be like with Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving? Should they all three be there? So I get it. To me, you just got to look at the best route to the championship. To me, the best route to a championship is James Harden, and I understand the contractual obligation down the line, but can't you just move off of that later, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? You know what I mean?
Not if he's making $56 million and he's 15 pounds heavier and his hamstrings ravaged.
But isn't that a problem to deal with later? I guess the question, but here's the thing. I guess the question,
unless you preemptively deal with it now, which is what I'm subscribing to.
Yeah, but
he don't want to be here, dude. He doesn't want to be in Brooklyn. I think play for the Nets.
I think he wants to try to win a championship. And James Harden's issue is that he has no faith. He has no belief, which may be telling in and of itself. He has no belief that it's going to work itself out the correct way in Brooklyn. One, because of KD's health. I mean, let's face it, BT, this is now 3 years in a row with Kevin Durant. With some sort of missed time injury and, extended absence from the squad. Kyrie Irving, he refuses to get vaccinated, so therefore he's compromised in New York.
Yeah.
So the commitment that I think James Harden wants to see, one is controllable. The other one is kind of not, but maybe telling about the long-term health of Kevin Durant, right? We're talking about the health of James Harden. What about Kevin Durant's long-term health, right? I think James Harden just doesn't see or trust that what they have here is going to work. That's why he's thinking about getting out. He just doesn't want to take the bad press, which is surprising to me because he clearly didn't care about the bad press leaving Houston.
Yeah, maybe exactly.
And he was tied there for, 6, 7, 8 years, whereas he's been here for 2 cups of coffee, and he's worried about the bad press.
Yeah,
I don't buy that excuse, by the way.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that means when he says he doesn't want to hear the bad press.
That's so stupid. He doesn't want to formally request a trade. And so instead of saying, "Excuse me, sir, would you please relocate me?" It's more, "Hey, we're not happy, so find a way around this." What the hell's the difference?
I don't know.
You're still expressing the same sentiment.
I don't get that.
Listen, I am now of the mindset, with everything in my life, if you don't want to be here or somewhere, then we will do everything in our power to accommodate you. Because here's the other thing you have to look at, all right? So if you pay, let's say the Nets, and again, this is part of the equation. The Nets are holding out for, reportedly Seth Curry, Tyree.
Yep.
They wanted to, okay, we got you. So time's ticking, so you can ask for the moon, and then by 250, you're going to have to come to maybe a different resolution that you're only getting 86 cents on the dollar rather than $1.19. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
So, and I think they'll be smart enough to do that. But if the Nets internally say, all right, you know what? All right, as Tiki said on The Fan today. By the way, that's a good new show. Have you guys listened to that? That's what the Nets are saying in their office. They're saying they should be saying we should be listening to these guys.
That's
and if
right.
they are, then Harden's behind will be out of here in 6-7 hours, whatever it is. But
we got to go over. We got to go to catch a game over there.
Oh,
PT.
we will.
I know you're a Knick guy.
Oh,
we
no,
got to go. You're a Garden guy. We got to go catch a game over there.
I like Barclays. I
do
definitely,
too.
of course, man. There's no doubt. But now that we're settled in, it's been a little bit more than a month here. The Nets need to look at themselves and say, all right, guys, here's our options. We roll the dice and we pass up on Ben Simmons, who, as Tiki said earlier on that Good News show, has not taken a meaningful shot, and we don't really know what we're getting. Yes, there's an educated risk there. Okay. Or we actually make the trade and bring in a 6'10 defender. But if we don't do that, a versatile defender, if we don't do that, we're bringing back somebody, 1, who doesn't want to be here, 2, who's showing signs of breaking down, 3, we don't know if the rest of the components of the big 3 will even be here or be fully healthy to justify bringing him back. And, oh, yeah, by the way, if he doesn't re-sign this summer by opting in, then we've given up a chance to get Simmons because then Simmons will be gone, in my opinion, and you'll lose that bat. That ship will sail. And then even if you do resign Harden, if he wants to stay here, I hate the contract when he's in his mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
So I am absolutely, maybe I have not been very clear today. I think I'm a little choppy out of the chute. So let me be very clear. I believe you have to trade him. I believe they are motivated to trade him. Now, I'll stop short of making a prediction that he will be dealt because that we'll find out soon. If it's my team, gone. I'm trading James Harden. Period.
Yeah, but that makes it, the way you're saying it, it makes it sound like James Harden's done something wrong. And I don't think he has. I think James Harden is just being James Harden. He wants to win a championship. Kyrie has a championship. KD has a championship. Right? They can afford to just, I don't know, coast for a little while. I think there's some urgency in James Harden's mind, and so I almost feel bad for him in a sense.
Oh, stop!
Not from
bad
not from a basketball monetary, none of that standpoint. But he's stuck. Like, he's got to make a decision, and he can either formally go to the Brooklyn Nets and say, let's get this thing done and get me out of here, or he can fully commit to them and say, I'm with you guys for the long haul. I love these guys that I'm playing with, at least in theory, because they're not always together. But I love this, like the idea of what we can build here. And we're gonna ride with it, and I'm gonna try to win my championship that way. But at some point, but think about it, BT. If you're James Harden, all your boys have won championships, all of them, except for Westbrook. But I don't even know if they're boys. But you know what I mean. Like, all these guys have won championships, and he's not. And if he stays here in Brooklyn and it just keeps staying like the status quo has been for the last 2 years, he's not going to win one. They just can't seem to get it together. What do they play, like 12 games
exactly.
combined
More
together?
Evidence why you got to move on. I mean, you just keep kicking this thing down the road. I mean, we've said for years now they're never together. They're never whole. So why don't you preemptively do something about it and stop saying, well, maybe it's going to get better. And by the way, I know that you don't really feel sorry for him, but
no, you know what I mean.
I
feel sorry for him like he's not going to get his shot.
Well, too bad. I mean, you know what? Too bad then. Maybe I don't feel bad because he's got the option of either going with Joel Embiid or signing for $230 million with the Nets, while most people, and again, trust me, I know you, so I know you get this, but most people have to determine, the expendable or disposable income, of say $500 or $600 we have during the summer during a given month. Do I send my child to camp?
Yeah, but come on, I'm talking relative to basketball.
With James Harden feels.
I'm talking
relative
Harden
at all.
I'm not even talking about his money.
Be here.
Who cares about his money? I'm talking about his professional accomplishment.
He forced his way out of Houston. He's trying to force his way out of Brooklyn.
And you would have forced yourself out of Houston as well.
Why? I don't know. Because now we have to align ourselves with super teams because all these guys are soft because they can't do it the old school way.
Don't forget where Houston,
these guys.
Don't forget where Houston was 2 years ago. They were going nowhere. They were sinking to the bottom. Hey, and look where they are now.
Okay,
and James Harden didn't want to be on that type of squad.
Terrific. You know what? We had Charles Oakley in studio the other day, and I love some of these names I'm about to mention. But did Patrick Ewing ever demand the trade when Charlie Ward?
Different era.
I understand that, but that's my era. So I am hardened. I am calloused to the pursuit of a championship. Now, I get the modern plight of the athlete because too many knuckleheads on TV and radio make it all about the championship. Aaron Rodgers only has one championship. We've got to drop him 9 tiers in the list of all-time great quarterbacks. It's so stupid. So,
maybe 9 slots, not 9 tiers.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
So these athletes, they're growing up differently, and I get it. If I was young, I might do the same thing. I get it, but I don't feel sympathy. I don't even feel empathy in the as an adult towards these athletes for their championship plight. Whoever drafts you, bust your ass, get a team going. If it doesn't work, you've got the right to leave. But now you want to keep jumping around. Oh, Houston, you know what? Get me out of Oklahoma City. I'm not getting enough shots. Oh, all right, Houston, suddenly we suck. Get me out of here. Oh, Brooklyn, I love you. Not what I thought. Get out of here, James. Get lost, James Harden.
You're
tired of this nonsense.
You're making it convenient to your argument.
But no, it's completely accurate. Every path I just chronicled has happened.
I know.
All right.
But he had an idea when he came to Brooklyn, and it just never came came to fruition because of the lack of, I don't know, continuity. They just never played together. Never did. They never got a chance to actually.
Listen,
you know what I mean? It's just not working.
877-337-6666. I can't imagine that. Well, listen, I've learned a long time ago not to speak for other people, especially fans that are fans of a team that I don't root for. So maybe I shouldn't pretend to know what Net fans are thinking. Like, I'm a little more comfortable saying, do this with the Knicks and with the Knicks or trade Randall. But even though I don't think he will be dealt today, maybe I should just back up and say, you know what, Net fans, you say and you do whatever you want, and we'll let Evan and McPherson speak for you. But anybody with 3 basketball brain cells bouncing around in their brain has to come to the reasonable point in the road for all the reasons I just outlined that James Harden's got to go.
Do you think he gets traded? Do you think he gets traded?
Okay, let me just again.
Yes.
Would I trade him?
Yes,
100%.
Yeah, but you're not Sean Marks.
I'm getting there. I mean? I'm getting there.
Would you trade him?
I'm getting there. Would I trade him? Yes.
Do you think he gets traded?
I'm getting there.
Mm-hmm. I'm just making sure you clearly know the question.
It's got to build up the hype. I'm getting there. Do I believe that the Nets are motivated to trade him as of 10:19 in the morning? Yes. Unequivocally, yes, as a matter of fact. Do I believe that he will actually be traded? I do lean toward yes. But prediction at this point is meaningless. Listen, I think we have 4 hours every day on the air, right?
Yep.
I mean, eventually you've got to make a prediction like, who's going to win the Super Bowl? Yeah, of course. But at the end of the day, predictions are meaningless. I'm more wrapped up with logic and the ability to look at a situation and deduce whatever I think needs to be deduced and then give everybody a thought as to what I think is going to happen. So do I think he's going to get traded? I do. But that's a big contract. That's a big situation in Philly. So I can't say definitely. I can say definitely I would do it. I don't know what the Nets will do, though I do think that they will. And I know they're trying.
Yeah.
So
5 hours.
That answered your question.
5 hours till we find out.
Yeah, he's got to go.
5 hours.
You don't like it here.
I don't think it's happening.
Okay. Hoff, you think he's going to be dealt?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No chance.
No chance.
Not today. No.
877-337-6666. Wow. So, I'm not even going to ask Dove. Dove is playing Wordle over there. By the way, somebody needs to explain Wordle.
Tracy brought that up the other day as well. I don't know what Wordle
Craig is so into it. I know Evan hopped on it. And listen, I'm pretty good with words, so it's probably like one of the few things I'd be good at. I might have to jump into the Wordle. Is it worth jumping into the Wordle part of the pool? Like, I don't need. What do you start with a word and then you've got to come up with variations of other words? Is it like Scrabble? I don't know.
BT, all I can tell you is that I don't know anything about it, but my 8-year-old is very happy he just got his first Wordle. So I don't know if you're on that same level.
What is a good score? I feel like Craig is in the 250s. Is there like a max?
I keep on seeing like 266.
Yeah.
Like that. So maybe that's a good score, 266.
All right. So listen, we laid it out for you. We didn't miss anything. That doesn't mean that we'll be right, but we laid out everything that could happen. We told you what we think will happen. We told you what should happen.